and be mystical, Wild Pack. It's Bernadette, and I'm here with your Pick a Card Tarot reading for Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. Woo, doggies! The mysticism, the magic is flowing in my office today like boogity, 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 but in a good way. So, before we get crazy deep, because this is a deep, deep reading, I want to invite you to slow down this morning. Take a breath, stop where you are, or just get where you need to be where you can stop and you can just chillax a little bit and you can just be in the flow with this message and you can just hear with the ears that will hear and see with the eyes that will see. And before we jump into that, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, press the little bell so you get all the great notifications. Subscribe, take yourself on over to gatheringofmystics.com, join the fun over there, and also pick up your copy of the Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck, which is the deck that I read from. And that being said, voila, today is the High Priestess Spider card. Now, the High Priestess arguably is one of the most profound cards in the deck because this old gal sits right between us and eternity. She sits between the physical world and all of the world that goes on beyond the veil. And that's exactly why Spider was like, "What? There's no choice. I have to be the High Priestess, of course." And that's because when you take a look at spider webs, symbolically, they are the veil between us and the other world. And so today is really a day for you to know, here is what was told to me, you're not crazy. Here's what that means. You're not crazy. I didn't even know that I have the words for it. You are being called in such a huge way to know that you know that you know. Here's what that means. It takes a good deal of courage to step out into the world and use your spidey senses in such a way that you're either being a professional reader, professional healer, you know, in the alternative healing spaces, to some degree acupuncture, definitely to some degree the herbalist, although in other cultures they're very accepted. Still, here in the States, people, you know, look at you like you're, I don't know. I don't know what they look at you like, but it's not normal. They don't think you're normal. And you're also being called, now if you do Reiki, you know, that's just or quantum healing or theta healing or quantum touch, that kind of thing. You know, certainly you're out there with the loonies, just like I am. I'm a medium, I'm a psychic, I'm an intuitive tarot reader, I'm a shaman, so on and so forth. And so even if you're not practicing professionally, but you are lacking the courage to show up in the world, in your own life and in your family's world or your friend's world or anybody's world, as who you really are, which is a true mystic, a true High Priestess, a person with the eyes to see beyond the veil, the ears to hear beyond the veil, who will take a look at this spider card and not recoil because it's a spider, but sit in balance with Mama Spider and sit with the High Priestess and receive these deep, deep, deep messages. Because I'll give you, for instance. So my sister and I went out the other day to the only seafood restaurant here in Gainesville worth a hoot, and it ain't worth all that much of a hoot, but we went. And this old boy that was serving us at our table, I looked at him, and my sister tapped my foot under the table. That's her sign for don't do it, because sometimes I'm called to give a message to people. So I tapped her back under the table and I said, "Hey, could I ask you a question?" He said, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "You know, you've got such a kind way about you. And my whole family, except for me, is in the medical profession. And you've got kind of that same, I like people, I like to help people vibe. Have you ever thought about being in the medical profession?" Instead of saying, "I'm a psychic and I see for you, boogity, 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 boogity." Don't do that, y'all. Please don't walk out in the world and do that. It scares the bejeebers out of people, and mostly they'll think you're nuts. So he says, yes, ma'am. He said, as a matter of fact, and he goes into this whole long story about how his goal in life was always to be a nurse, and then an RN, and then go on to be a nurse practitioner. But then the family had trouble and he had to get a job, and so on and so forth and so forth. And I said, well, I said, I'm just really called, because he made it very clear through what he was telling, that he's Christian and he follows that doctrine. And I said, well, I was just really called, because those are the words they use. And it was just shown to me by God that your dream is not over yet. And I know that because you're still so helpful, and you're still this and you're still that. Well, that kid left our table on cloud 9. Donkey, 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 donk. He was so happy, because he's not living his dream. He's serving in a restaurant. That's not what he wants to be doing. But he's got to bring home the bacon, so to speak, right now. Okay, for his family. Now, not married family, like his mom and his brother and his sister and the whole nine. I don't know what a catalyst of change that was for this world. It's not my job to know. My job was to sit and hear what I was hearing, and hear with the ears that would hear, and see with the eyes that would see beyond the veil. Because who knows if this kid goes on to be a nurse practitioner, whatever. What if one day he saves the life of somebody, I don't want to say important, but let's say that he saves the life of someone who also then goes on to do other great big things for the world. What if he saves the life of, I don't know. What if he just saves one life of someone we'll never know? Bob Smith down the road, right? What if he does? Okay, that's good enough for me. And so when you take a look at the traditional tarot card meanings of the High Priestess card, what I would invite you to take a look at is all of the symbolism around her, because she represents pure spirituality achieved through perfect balance. And how I'm being told to interpret that for you all today, in terms of that particular tarot card meaning, the tarot card symbolism, is that pure spirituality in this instance is about knowing that you know that you know that you know, and you're perfectly balanced with it and okay with it. You receive it as a deep truth. You deliver it, if that's what is called for, as a deep truth. And then you go on about your merry business. You don't have to see the outcome. And why I bring that up is, well, because I was told to. But what I can associate that with is remote viewing. Now, when you work with true remote viewing teachers, people who truly can remote view, one of the biggest things that they teach you to do is remote view an object, a place, a situation, of this, of that, and you never get feedback. You don't know if you were right. You don't know if you were wrong. You know nothing. You deliver the information and you go on about your merry business. Now, the first couple times I did that, I spun. But what that taught me to do was take a harder look at myself in my practice of mediumship and intuitive tarot, talking with the animal allies, shamanism, the whole line. Did I personally, did my ego need that feedback? Was that why I needed confirmation or affirmation? Can you receive, I'll say to somebody, X, Y, and Z, can you receive this? Can you take this? Does this make sense to you? Okay. I do that in my practice now because it's good for the client. I don't have to do that in my practice. Remote viewing taught me that, and the High Priestess is teaching you that today. You are not crazy. Hear the messages that are coming to you. See the messages that are coming to you. Know that you are thinking, seeing beyond the veil. You are hearing beyond the veil, and you're not crazy. Taking that a step further, the purest of spirituality is, the only reason I'm in this business as a metaphysician is because I want to help. It's the way I was called on to help this world. This is the work that I offer the world. By taking that remote viewing class, I also learned that because I often say, I just need to be pointed down an energy trail, an electricity trail, and I'm like a hound dog. I'm like a bloodhound. I can go right down that trail. And that's true, I can. I don't need to. I say it because it's easier for people, the lay person, to get what that means. But taking a remote viewing class with Joseph McMoneagle at the Monroe Institute, and Joseph was one of the original 4 or 5 guys that did the Stargate program for the federal government, for the United States government. That taught me I don't have to go down an energy trail. Once it's in me, that's it. It's laid out in front of me and it's instantaneous. And that is where you're being asked to go to today, by Spider and by the High Priestess. Now, I have a tremendous amount of pain in my gut right now, in the lower part of my gut, in the sacral part of my gut. And today, Tuesday, is the sacral chakra day, and it is ruled by Mars, which is an aggressive energy. But why I'm feeling that, because this is really the first, if I'm not doing a live, this is the first time in doing the daily readings, the daily pick a card tarot readings, that I've felt a physical thing for the collective, for the pack, right? I'm not going to, you guys aren't the collective, you're the pack. And that tells me that if I could take a poll of every one of you that will watch this and will ever watch this, you'll tell me that this stirred something deep, deep, deep in your sacral chakra, because you question the messages you get. You question the signs you get. You want to believe, you know you should believe, and yet you can't quite get there. But now you're being asked to get there. And here's the other thing. There's a review of the Ark on Amazon that sometimes when I'm incredulous about something, I go and I read that review, and then I realize, however incredulous I am at that moment about that thing, I will never, ever be more incredulous than I am at this review. This person reviewed the deck and gave it a 3. Why? Because she likes the deck, but not the bugs. As if anyone working with the animal allies in the truest sense of the word, or with shamanism, could just leave out an entire phyla of animals. Just leave out the insects because you don't like insects. What? That just didn't even make any sense to me. Now, I'm not picking on this lady. For all I know, I don't even know that it is a woman. It could be a guy. It could be anything. I don't even know. It could be an alien for all I know. I'm not picking. What I'm saying is that the High Priestess is asking you to come to terms with everything you see. Every message is important. If you don't like spiders and you recoil at spiders, figure out why that is. My guesstimate would be that they stir that deep sacral, primordial, ancient thing that we have that attaches us to the original gods of this earth, which were indeed animals. They were the original gods. They were the original gods that we worshipped, as evidenced by history, by anthropology. So that's a lot to unpack for today. Go on and be your most connected High Priestess and spider self. Do not reject the insects. The moon energy that High Priestess is associated with, please connect with the moon. And as always, what? Do good for animals, including yourself, and stay wild.